According to inside sources, Donald Trump is apparently feeling sad about his prospects going into November, and isn't that a shame? Politico has interviewed a number of different people, and this is what they have concluded. Donald Trump knows he's losing. The president has privately come to that grim realization in recent days, multiple people close to him told Politico, amid a mountain of bad polling and warnings from some of his staunchest allies that he's on course to be a one-term president. And they give some examples. I want to jump to one which we talked about on this show. What should have been an easy interview with Fox News host Sean Hannity on Thursday horrified advisors when Trump offered a rambling, non-responsive answer to a simple question about his goals for a second term. In the same appearance, the normally self-assured president offered a tacit acknowledgement that he might lose when he said that Joe Biden is gonna be your president because some people don't love me, maybe. And the thing is, it isn't just him saying it to people that are close to him. Other Trump devotees seem to have acknowledged it, with Tucker Carlson saying he could well lose this election, and Lindsey Graham saying that the president needs to make the race more about policy and less about your personality, which is as close to open rebellion as Lindsey Graham will ever come since the 2016 election. Anyway, Emma, I mostly included this on the rundown today because I wanted your perspective. These sorts of write-ups of the fears of aides, I feel like come every election, both ways. And he's super confident. He believes he's going to lose. What do you make of it?
Yeah, and they're usually in Politico, right? I feel like Politico loves taking the temperature of campaigns and speaking to insiders. That's like their entire bread and butter.
Well, really fast. When you're up DC's butt, it's easy to take its temperature. So.
Exactly. So well done. That was good. Yeah. But yeah, I think that when Maggie Haberman came out with her piece about how the Trump campaign and people on his staff reacted to the disappointment and the failure of the Tulsa rally, there was an acknowledgement there, according to her reporting, that he's on his way to probably losing the election. And that Freudian slip on the Sean Hannity town hall was also quite amusing. But, what a loser Trump is, right? We talk about Hillary Clinton's hubris and how she can put herself out there and go after Bernie Sanders and progressives. When you lost to Donald Trump, lady, you lost to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But now Trump, dude, you might lose to Joe Biden. Joe Biden, who is one of the weakest candidates in the history of this country because you were so bad at being president and botched this so thoroughly that you might lose to the guy who on Super Tuesday called it Super Thursday and confused his wife and his sister on stage. That's the guy you're probably going to lose to.
I think Joe Biden, in his defense, was thinking about one of those classic NBC lineups on Thursday nights that were pretty super back in the 90s. Anyway.
Or Thursday Night Football.
I guess it could be that. I prefer the sitcoms. But anyway, yeah, 100%. And again, I don't know what to make of the fact that some of his aides are really nervous and that he's apparently feeling kind of down. With Trump, more than other politicians, it theoretically means something because Trump is both deluded about his own grandeur. So I don't think he's of the sort that generally gets down about himself because he blocks out all negative information. And also doesn't seem like the sort of person that would really confide in people about his fears about his own success because he is so arrogant and full of himself. So maybe theoretically with Trump, it means something. What I think is significant potentially is what he plans to do about it. And we have a little bit of information about that. Apparently in the week since the Tulsa rally, the president has grudgingly conceded that he's behind. He's vented for days about the event and has started to take a more hands-on role in the campaign and has expressed openness to adding more people to the team. He has also held meetings recently focusing on his efforts in individual battleground states. And one of the people that apparently is getting more involved is Jared Kushner. He's expected to play a more active role. He effectively oversees the campaign from the White House. He literally oversees everything that Trump does, to the extent that overseas means anything.
I feel like Trump just sees him as someone who's like able to speak coherently and isn't a complete moron and thinks, oh, this smart man should just do everything for me. Like, why does he need to have his handprints on every aspect of the administration? It just doesn't make any sense to me, or everything that Trump does. It's like, that's the closest that this team gets to having a smart person on staff is Jared Kushner.
That's sad. So two other notes. So one is they're preparing more ads, and they're gonna double down on the Joe Biden's brain is tapioca pudding. They're gonna keep doing that, which doesn't really seem to be working yet, but hypothetically could. But they're also going to be focusing on the 1994 crime bill to try to cut into his support from black voters. So that's how many times during the primary did we talk about that in particular? Both why that made him a worse candidate, but also would make him a worse president, is his past in this area. And looks like it might become true. Might show up in some ads.
Yeah, those are good strategies. Those would be, I think, extremely effective strategies in any normal election. But this is not a normal election. It's in the middle of a pandemic, economic crisis, civil unrest, civil rights fight that we haven't seen the likes of ever in our history. It's a huge crisis internationally and nationally. So those tactics would work. I have no doubt. If none of these events in 2020 transpired, I think Biden would have lost handily to Trump in any other set of circumstances. But this is not that. And Trump's botching of everything is evident in every single person's daily life. They are reminded of how bad the country is right now and how bad things are when they wake up in the morning and when they go to bed at night. And no amount of talking about Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline or terrible record on crime and civil rights, all of that, no amount of that is going to cut into that daily reality for every American that they are experiencing.
Yeah, exactly. Like we talked a while back about, wow, it's going to be great with Joe Biden making the case that both of them are losing their minds. That's great. Or that now both of them have been accused of sexual assault. That's great. But Biden did find one thing. Only one of the two hasn't presided over 130,000 plus people dying in a pandemic that totally could have been avoided. So that's going to benefit him a bit. Anyway, I have one question, final, for you, but also for everyone in the comments. So I want everyone in the comments to answer as well. It has become sort of a thing in the past week or so to say that Trump could drop out. If he doesn't think he's going to win and he doesn't want to be absolutely crushed, that he would just drop out. What do you think?
No, that's never going to happen. That's a stupid liberal pipe dream. Sorry. Trump thought he was going to lose in 2016, according to many reports, or didn't even expect to win. He was doing it as a part of his marketing campaign to launch Trump TV, and he won, but he stayed in anyway. So why would he drop out now? And he might, like, there is not a minute. There's a chance that's better than minute, I should say, that Trump will try to come up with an excuse not to leave office. I didn't think that was entirely possible until, now, but that could happen. And so Trump isn't going to go quietly. That's for sure.
Yeah. This is why we get each other, Emma. I feel the same way. And it is both a sort of liberal pipe dream, but also I've heard from people who I don't consider to just be, sort of normal centrist libs that this is what they're saying. Some of the articles are including sources are saying and everything. And I just feel like, no, we heard this last time. And let's say he does. We don't need to talk about it or plan for it ahead of time. Let's just be surprised. Let's plan for him running, and let's plan for a really messed up American electorate, a significant portion of which views politics exclusively through their white supremacist worldview, to still turn out for him. Let's plan for that so that he doesn't win. That's my view. And so far from what I'm seeing from the chat, the vast majority say they don't think he's going to drop out too. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.